Hello friends, I'm Akash, and this is your News of the Week for the week of September 11th to September 17th, 2022. I'm Akash Rakoti, and before we begin, I want to let you all know that for the past week, I have been sick with a fever, cough, and cold. Right now, I'm recovering, but just to let you know that that's the reason why my voice sounds a little bit different. With that out of the way, let's take a look at our headlines. First up, an update on Queen Elizabeth II's funeral after she passed away on September 8th. Next up, the Shanghai Cooperation Organization Summit this year took place in Uzbekistan. And lastly, tennis legend Roger Federer retires at the age of 41. So, let's take a look at our stories. Starting off with the United Kingdom's longest-serving monarch, Queen Elizabeth II passed away on September 8, 2022 in Balmoral Castle, Scotland, marking the end of an era. She was transported from Balmoral Castle to Westminster Hall, part of the Palace of Westminster in London, where she is currently lying in state. A queue for mourners to visit the Queen's coffin began on September 14th and grew massively, with wait times in the many hours, and a second queue being formed in order to get to the first one. The Queen's state funeral will take place at the nearby Westminster Abbey on September 19th, 2022. Roughly 500 world figures will be attending the state funeral, including the President of the United States, Joe Biden, and the President of India, Draupadi Murmu. And the Queen will be buried in the King George VI Memorial Chapel in Windsor Castle, where her father, George VI, her mother, Queen Elizabeth the Queen Mother, and her sister, Princess Margaret, were all interred, and where her husband, Prince Philip, will also be interred alongside the Queen on the 19th. So, rest in peace, dearest Queen Elizabeth II. Next up, let's take a look at the 2022 annual summit of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization between 9 Eurasian nations, which was held in Samarkand, Uzbekistan from September 15th to September 16th, 2022. The SCO, Shanghai Cooperation Organization, currently consists of 8 member nations: China, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Russia, Tajikistan, Uzbekistan, India, and Pakistan. Iran signed a memorandum on September 15th that finalizes its upcoming membership of the SCO, and Belarus also announced its plans for accession on September 16th. The leaders of the ASCO member states, alongside the 4 observer states, attended the summit. And this includes Prime Minister Modi, Russian President Putin, and Chinese President Xi Jinping. Some Western reporters have characterized the SCO as a sort of opposition against NATO, and that's partially because China and Russia have been 2 of the group's key members from its founding in 2001 and the signing of the charter in 2003. But Russia's war with Ukraine has sparked a lot of concerns from within the SCO itself over the state of the war, especially from India, which has remained neutral for the time being. And also from China as well, which recently has begun taking an interesting look into the current situation. So hopefully the Russia-Ukraine situation comes to a peaceful end, and hopefully the SCO summit results in good things for all the countries involved. Now it's time to take a look at our final story of the week. One of the greatest tennis players of our times, Roger Federer, has announced that he will be retiring from tennis after the 2022 Laver Cup in London from September 23rd to 25th, 2022. The Swiss was ranked world number 1 by the Association of Tennis Players for a collective total of 310 weeks, which serves to be about over 6 years. He has won 20 Grand Slam titles, the 3rd most of all time in history. Federer started his career in 1996 at the age of 14 and went pro in 1998, winning his first Grand Slam title in 2003 and becoming world number 1 for the first time in 2004. He became one of the big 3 tennis players of the 2000s and 2010s and the 2020s as well, alongside Rafael Nadal and Novak Djokovic. And Federer is praised not just for his tennis talent, but for his behavior in general and his gracefulness when playing. And Federer announced his retirement in a statement in which he expressed his gratitude to his family, his coaches, his team, his fellow players, his fans, the Swiss tennis board, and to the sport of tennis for making him the person he is today. Federer has been highly regarded around the world, especially in his home country, Switzerland, where a coin was released with him, making him the first living person featured on any Swiss coin, which is such an high honor. And so now Roger Federer, at the age of 41, is retiring from tennis after the Laver Cup in London. So he will go down in history as one of the greatest tennis players the world has ever seen. And that is all of your news of the week for the week of September 11th to September 17th, 2022. Thanks so much for watching. Love you. Akash.